How does that purpose relate to the success of your career?
As a kid, I just wanted to sing, and I just wanted my dream to come true. And that's all I could think about in that moment.
The winner is Destiny's Child.
Iconic girl group Destiny's Child shot to massive fame in the late 90s with chart-topping hits, platinum-selling albums, and multiple Grammy wins. Touring stadiums around the world as a pop star, Kelly Rowland is well acquainted with life and the spotlight. Was music always something that was lingering around the family, you?
It was lingering around me. I remember going to Israel Baptist Church in Atlanta, Georgia, and listening to the choir sing was just so fulfilling for me. It was the thing that I looked forward to in going to church because it just made me feel alive. It made me feel happy. So when the choir director saw how much I loved it, she told my mom, just let her join the choir. And that's exactly what I did. I had my first solo at 5.
How'd that go?
Oh, it was the ugliest dress. I would go right to fashion, right?
But you're just thinking about the dress. You wish you could change it.
The biggest, poofiest cupcake dress with the biggest, most frilly socks and the cutest little shoes. It was just always a part of my life, but I just remember looking out into the crowd and how I was like, oh, this is cool. Even at that age, I was like, this is right. Something about this feeling is right. And
so at that moment, did you feel like, okay, this is what I want to do?
Absolutely.
For the rest of my life?
Absolutely.
Age 11, you joined a group, Girls Time.
There was auditions, and I came in and I sang Whitney Houston's I'm Your Baby Tonight. And I made it in the group. And Girls Time was awesome. Like, we worked really hard. We were super young. You know, we got on Star Search. It was the moment that we lost on Star Search as well, but it was a moment that kind of shifted for all of us.
Do you feel like your identity is wrapped up in being an artist because you started so young?
As a kid, I just wanted to sing. And I just wanted my dream to come true, you know? And that's all I could think about in that moment. And I was excited and ready to do the work that it took. So if that was rehearsals, it was rehearsals. If it was making sure I finished my schoolwork on time to get to rehearsals, then I did it. We were like really interesting kids because that's all we cared about. Of course, before you get into the music industry or entertainment industry, period, you're looking at it from the TV, listening to it on the radio, and that's all you know. I remember being so excited, of course, because I didn't know what it was truly like. It's so many people coming at you at one time, especially when there's a great amount of success. So you have people who want to be your friends. You have people who probably want to try to use you. You have people who are there for the ride. You know what I mean? And I think that you have to navigate your way through. But it's such a rush. It's so many things going on at one time. Destiny's Child days were like a blur to me because it was so many things happening at one time. It was #1 record after #1 record. It was 3 countries in one day. It was a full 8-hour press junket and then shows after. It was waking up and doing it for maybe longer the next day, flying back into the States from all these different incredible places. But by the time you actually get a moment to be home, you don't know what to do with yourself. You know what I mean? And you're just like, well, I want to go back out on the road. So you, of course, book everything all up and you're back out on the road and you're having this incredible time.
Do you feel like it defined you? The records and maybe being #1 or not being #1?
I think that for me, if it wasn't #1, I would probably be really hard on myself. You know what I mean? Or I would measure myself to other artists or other females out. And it's just like, why do that? One, it's a waste of time. And two, like, it's a reason why everybody has a role. It's a reason why everybody has a different thumbprint. If everybody did the same things, it would be boring. It would be a boring world.
Yeah.
It was probably a time where I just was really tired of, like, the crappy part of the industry. You know what I mean? Like the moments where you feel like you're there by yourself. Like when the number ones aren't there and you're just left with your own person.
Life in the music industry is bound to evolve as it traverses through different seasons. After 9 years of massive worldwide success, the Destiny's Child girls transitioned to focus on their careers as solo artists. Living such a highly visible life, how do you deal with transitions in your career?
Transition used to stress me out. And there was a time where, like, my transition took years.
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 Transition of inner working in you or transition in your career?
Both. I was constantly wondering, why am I here? You know, I always, and I would, of course, always ask God, like, why do I have to go through this part?
Yeah.
And why is it so painful? And why is it so stressful? And why can't I sleep at night? And why is there a lack of peace? And why is there one thing coming after the other? And it's because, like, I guess those kinks were just slowly being worked out. Because at one point in time, I was in a really dark spot. I didn't like the place where I was. You know what I mean? I didn't like the place where I was, and I just became, it just felt like for a second I was going to drown. I remember the moments where I was tired. I was so tired.
How did faith play a role in that season for you?
Oh my goodness. It played a huge role. And the moment where I thought that I was just gonna not make it, I would hear a song, get the perfect word for someone, or just feel something so strongly in my head and my heart. And I knew that it was bigger than me. When I understood that, I was like, fine, God, okay, here we go.
Yeah.
And it took going through that muddy process and then slowly understanding, like, oh, this is how I do this. You know what I mean? And he would show me different people in different ways, and I would experience the most random things. And I felt like he was there every step of the way with me. It was a really interesting time, but when I came out of it, I remember feeling lighter. I let go of a lot.
What convictions guide artists to retain this perspective amidst the day-to-day work required to create?
I'll never forget when Destiny's Child was in the middle of Europe somewhere in a country I cannot pronounce, but was just incredible. It was kids who came to the front, like while we were doing the Lord's Prayer, singing the Lord's Prayer, and they were just crying. And I remember all of us looking up like, oh boy. It felt like a great responsibility. You know what I mean? And for a second, it was, we were nervous. At least I was nervous. But then I was like, wow, this is really what we're here for.
Wow.
You know, you give people purpose through song, but then when you're able to see them during the show and you see their lives are touched by things that you say or something that you're singing and you're giving praise, like, and it's your personal faith and you're able to share that with fans, that's kind of remarkable.
Yeah.
And that's when you feel like I'm at the right place at the right time. And I know that what he has me here for is bigger than the records and awards and everything else. What all this time has taught me is how you have to be appreciative for every moment. The industry, I think they're always like, well, that should be easy. You know, they have their opinions about it, but you won't know it until you're in it. And you have to experience it on your own and for yourself, because the truth is that it's gonna be different, but the same in a lot of areas.
Is it still a rush day-to-day today?
Absolutely, especially when you're excited to promote. You're excited to see your fans. You're having these moments where you get to talk about for album, it's like a new baby. You know, your new baby all over again. And it's bigger than cute outfits and microphones at this point. Yeah. You know what I mean? And realizing that it's more to life than number ones.
What legacy do you hope to leave behind?
The legacy I hope to leave behind is to be known as a woman with a good heart. I want to make my children proud. I want to be known as, remembered as the virtuous woman.
And the